Okay, in this lesson we're taking a look at volumes of prisms and cylinders. Let's take a look at some definitions, and if you feel like pausing the video, you're welcome to do so to take notes. Okay, what's the definition of the volume of a volume? The volume is the amount of three-dimensional space something takes up. So you can think of any three-dimensional shape, the amount of space that takes up, that will be our volume. The prism. What is a prism? A solid object with two identical ends and flat sides. We saw some of these shapes already in the previous lesson. You can think of a rectangular prism, you can think of a triangular prism, and even a cylinder which ends are in the shape of a circle. And of course you may have noticed this as well, that the formula for any prism follows this criteria, follows this formula. The area of the base times the height. So for example, for a rectangular prism, you find out the area of the base, in this case a rectangle, and then you multiply it by the height, and that would be the formula for the volume of any prism. Okay, so make sure you have this down on your notes. And now let's take a look at some examples. Right here. Okay, so example 1. Find the volume of each shape below. Okay, so this one, what type of shape is this? A rectangular prism. Now you may want to pause the video, calculate it on your own, and then compare it with my calculations. So first, what are we going to do? Well, the volume of a prism, it's essentially, we can rewrite it down and always have the formula sheet handy that you just wrote on the previous lesson. But the volume of a rectangular prism is length times width times the height. So we can label this as the height, right? This will be our width and this will be our length. And so we simply multiply all of these. 16 times 8 times 4. So what is this going to be equal to? Well, you grab your calculator and you get, I think it's, yes, 512. 512. No, so let's write this down. 512. Now, what units are we going to use this here? Well, remember, these are three-dimensional shapes, so that means centimeters cube. 3 for three-dimensional shapes. 3 for 3 dimensions. Okay, let's take a look at our next example. What kind of a prism is this? It's a triangular prism. So same thing. A triangular prism, what's the formula? Well, if you're not sure, you can always refer to this, but all the sheet that you wrote previously. But we can calculate the area of the base. Now, what's the area of the base here? Well, base times height, this is the base, so let me shade it a little bit. That's the base. Base times height divided by 2. So that's going to be 4 times 3 divided by 2 times the height. Right? And all this times the height. Actually, let me put it in brackets just in case people find it a bit confusing. Times the height. Right? And now we can use some simplifications here. So 4 times 3 is 12. 12 divided by 2 is 6. So you end up with 6 times 6 is 36. 36 centimeters cube. Alright? So in our last example, we have a cylinder. A cylinder. So same thing. What's the formula for the volume of a cylinder? Well, the area of the base. What's the formula? What shape is this? This is a circle. So the area of the circle of the base is going to be pi r squared times the height. Times the height. So now let's substitute the values. You have 8, so that means pi times 8, which is our radius, squared, times the height, which is 22. So this is going to be equal to pi times 64 times 22. And when you multiply these, you get, or we should get, you should be getting, I'm getting this, 4,423.4 centimeters cube.